All right, you guys, I am going to show you how to make this number digit granny square. Really easy. The hardest part, I guess, will probably just be changing colors, but I'll show you how to do that. And the rest is just single crochets and then bobble stitches. So also don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for the rest of this series showing how to make the other numbers. I'm going to use a 5mm hook, and I'm using DK yarn. So we'll start with a slip knot. And chain 24. And then into the second chain from our hook, we'll single crochet. And then just single crochet all along your chain. So you should end up with 23 single crochets. And then chain 1 and turn. And then the next 2 rows are just going to be single crochet rows. Single crochet all the way down, and then single crochet the next row too, and then I'll meet you back. All right, once we've finished our first 3 rows of single crochets, chain 1 and turn, and then we'll do 8 single crochets. When you go to do your when you go to do your 8th single crochet, we'll stop to switch colors. 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8. We'll start our single crochet, but we're not going to complete it, so we're not going to yarn over and pull through yet. First, we're going to switch colors. So get your next color ready. And I'm just going to hang it over like this. Also, your first color, you need the yarn all on one side. So bring it back. Bring that working yarn back. So don't have it hanging on the other side. And then grab your new color, pull through. So now we've technically finished that single crochet. And then the next stitch is going to be a bobble stitch, specifically a 5 double crochet bobble stitch. So yarn over, insert into the next stitch, grab your yarn, pull it through, yarn over, pull through 2, and then yarn over, insert, grab your yarn, pull it through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert, grab your yarn, pull it through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert, grab your yarn, pull it through, yarn over, pull through 2. Then we'll do that one more time. Yarn over, insert, grab a yarn, pull it through, yarn over, pull through 2. Should have 6 loops on your hook, and then yarn over, pull through all the loops, and then single crochet. We're going to keep the same color for now. Single crochet into the next stitch. And then we'll do another bobble stitch into the next stitch. So yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, one more, pull through 2, 6 loops, pull through all of them, and then single crochet into the next stitch. And we'll do that 2 more times. So another bobble stitch into the next stitch. And then single crochet into the next, and then another bobble stitch into the next stitch. And then instead of yarning over and pulling through all, we're not going to do that because we're going to switch colors. So we're going to complete this stitch with the next color, or with our first color, I guess. So just pull it over from where it's at and yarn over and pull through all the loops, and then single crochet into the next stitch, and then single crochet all the way down. Ends up being 8 single crochets total. All right, and then chain 1 and turn, and then this row is just going to be a single crochet row. And then it can be kind of hard to tell exactly where to go for the bobble stitches, but just find that V, and it should be connected to another V. So I know there's kind of, you know, a clump of yarn there, so it's hard to tell, but you find that V, and it'll be kind of facing back more instead of up. So yep, just find that V, and that's where you want to work into. So that V. And then next V, which was a single crochet. And that next bobble stitch. And turn. So this row we'll do 7 single crochets, and instead of completing that 7th one, we're going to switch colors. So bring that working yarn back to keep it all on one side, and then find the working yarn of the other color, and we're just gonna bring it over and give it some slack, or else it's going to be too tight and curve your work too much. You can kind of tighten stuff as best as you can. And the next stitch will be a bobble stitch. Pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, and pull through 2, 6 loops on your hook, And we're not going to yarn over and pull through because we're switching colors again. So bring that working yarn down, grab the other color, and just pull through all the loops. And then single crochet to the next stitch, and we'll do 6 more single crochets. So 7 total. And then the 7th one we won't complete because once again we're going to switch colors to do the next bobble stitch. And then more bobble stitch. Six loops on your hook. We're not gonna complete it with that color. We'll complete it with the other color, just like we did on the last bobble stitch. So grab it, pull it through, and then single crochet into the next stitch, and then single crochet all the way down. Should be 7 total. Chain 1 and turn. This row is just single crochet row. Okay, and what we just did on row 6 and 7, so the row with the 2 bobble stitches and then the regular single crochet row, we'll repeat that 6 times. And then I'll meet you back. Okay, so I just finished my last regular single crochet row. And now the next row is going to be exactly what we did down here for row 4. So 8 single crochets. And we're not going to complete that 8th one. Instead, we're going to switch colors. And then we'll bobble stitch in the next stitch. And pull through all 6 loops and then single crochet. And then bobble stitch in the next stitch. And then single crochet in the next stitch. And then bobble stitch in the next stitch. Single crochet in the next stitch, and then bobble in the next. We're not going to complete this one with this color. Instead, we're going to switch back to our other color to complete that bobble stitch. And then single crochet for the rest of the row. And 8. All right, and then chain 1 and turn. And then the next 3 rows are gonna just be single crochet rows. So we'll just single crochet into each stitch for the next 3 rows. And then I'll meet you back, and you can fasten off after you do your 3 single crochet rows, and then I'll meet you back to do the border. All right, once you've done your last 3 single crochet rows, we'll start on our border, and we're going to do our border with this color. So you can cut this if you want, and then just rejoin in one of the corners. But I think I'm just going to keep it as it is and just bring it over. I'm going to start in the top left corner. So insert into that last stitch that we made there. And I'm going to try my best to work around, or kind of like weave in my tails as I go. And then I'm going to bring this working yarn over, pull through like so, and then I'm going to make sure it's not too tight. And I'm going to chain 1 and then single crochet into that same stitch. And we're going to work along this side edge here first. So now we're going to single crochet into the side of each row. So we technically just did that one, and then now, and you can kind of pull your stitches apart a little bit if that helps you to see where to go. So basically in between like each knot, I guess is a way to put it, is where you're gonna single crochet. So next one, and I'm gonna, again, I'll work around my yarn. And then the next one. So we single crocheted into the side of each row, and that gave us 24 single crochets. So we want each side to be equal, and we know that this will be 23 stitches here and here. So in the middle, we're just gonna do an increase. So we're just gonna add a stitch in the center. So, but first, before we start working along this side, we're going to chain 2 and then single crochet into the same stitch that you already single crocheted into, because now we're just working on into this side of it. And just single crochet along. And then into the 12th stitch, so I just worked a single crochet into the 12th stitch, we'll do one more single crochet into that same stitch, and that's our increase that we need. All right, so you should have 24 single crochets. And then we're gonna work along the other side here, and just like we did over here, we're going to single crochet into the side of each row. But first we're going to chain 2, and then now we're going to work along that side and single crochet into the same stitch that we just single crocheted into. But now we're just working along this side of it. So this one you should also have 24 stitches along the side, or 24 single crochets. And we're going to do the same thing down here as we did up here. So we're just going to increase into one of the stitches somewhere in the center. I think I did the 12th stitch on the side, so we can just do the 12th stitch again. So first we'll chain 2 to make our corner, and then work into that same stitch that we just worked into the side of, and continue along. Okay, so 12, and then one more single crochet into that same stitch. And then just single crochet into each stitch. And then we'll work into that same stitch that we started this round in. That'll make 24. So we still need to complete this first round. So to do that, instead of chaining 2, we're gonna chain 1 and then single crochet into the first single crochet of the row or round. And then we're gonna chain 1 and then kind of find like under that single crochet that we just made. So in that space made by the chain 1 and single crochet, so you kind of got to pull your stitches apart, and then we're going to work into that. So I'm gonna single crochet into that, and then single crochet into each stitch. Okay, and then after you've worked into each stitch, into that chain 2 space that we had made, we'll single crochet. So you should have a total of 26 single crochets, because the first and the last one were kind of an extra that we worked into the chain spaces. So, and then we're going to chain 2 and turn our work slightly, and then into that same chain space we'll single crochet, and then we'll single crochet into each stitch. Okay, and then into that chain 2 space we'll single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet. And then single crochet into each stitch, and we're just going to repeat that exact same thing all the way around until we get to the end, and I'll show you what we're going to do in that chain space. So single crochets until the end of this side, and then a single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet into the chain 2 space, and then work single crochets, and then stop before working into that first chain space. Okay, I just worked my second to last single crochet. I worked into that last stitch, and then I'm back at that beginning chain space. So we're gonna do our last single crochet into that chain space, and then after that single crochet, we're going to chain 2, and then we're going to do an invisible join. So give yourself a long enough tail, grab your needle, darning needle. So we're going to insert into the second single crochet of the round. So here's the first single crochet, and here's the second single crochet, and that's because we're gonna cover up that first one with a fake stitch basically. So insert under the second, and then bring your yarn back, or needle back, and then that chain, or that stitch that our tail's coming out of, we're going to insert into the back loop basically. And then that made a fake V. So now we'll just weave in our end to secure. And clean up any other tails. See, those ones I weaved in as I went. And then just have this last one to secure. And now we're done. You can block it if you want, just to kind of help shape it. If you liked that video, please like and subscribe, and stay tuned for the rest of the number digit granny square tutorials. And thank you for watching.